Welcome to the We Rock podcast, episode 20.
21.
Insert. Yeah, insert. If we say 21, 22, 23, 24, we can if we say enough numbers, we can edit it enough to get it right in post.
True.
As if we actually do much post. It's just usually hit go.
Oh, definitely so. I think one time that you and I just need to sit down and just record ourselves counting. And so that way I'll have that clipped already and we ain't even got to worry about it anymore. We'll just say, welcome to episode, brief pause, and then I'll add it in.
There you go. That way we don't sit here and spend 20 minutes talking about what episode number it is.
Right.
5 people that listen. So
we're up to tens of listeners.
Tens of listeners. The booming sound coming through your microphone. Well, again, here we are. We've got another guest. And this is Guestapalooza because we've run through several episodes of guests, but it's been fun. I've enjoyed doing this. Today we have Audrey Longstreth. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. Can't complain, right?
Amen.
No.
Amen.
I mean, if you were to complain, would anybody listen?
Yeah, probably not.
So Audrey is here because she's going to be one of our guest speakers at SMBA here in less than a month yet? No, just over a month. Just over a month because it's the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
We are 3 days from it being a month.
Yes.
So so she's going to be joining us in Grapevine. Right? Yeah. I always get it.
Oh, and for the SMBA members and also anybody that wishes to attend, make sure you go ahead and get your hotel rooms lined out because it's getting a little thin now. And also,
this is where I always get in trouble because I will book my rooms way early and then not register until way late. But because I'm really only interested in making sure I have the room I want.
Correct. And to help save Sammy's sanity, if you plan on attending and have not registered yet, please register. Sammy will be forever grateful.
Absolutely. And us as board members will be forever grateful for that too.
Absolutely.
So no, I think get ready. Audrey, you got yours, right? I think Sammy took care of you on that.
I hope so, because I didn't do anything. Sure. Hey, I booked a flight. I got that taken care of. So,
and you're bringing the husband, correct?
Husband is coming. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it would have been kind of rude to go to a monument convention and not bring him.
You know what? I would have been a little entertained by that. I'm not going to lie. And you're welcome to tell him that it would not hurt my feelings a bit.
Yes, he is coming. We are leaving the kids behind, though. Your recommendation of, just put them in the hotel room and your story of walking into your wife sitting in the bathroom because kids were I was like, yeah, that's not like the life I want to live while I'm down there with my not 2-year-old and 4-year-old sleeping in the same hotel. So we're going to leave them with grandparents.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Why is this an issue? Yeah. Mainly because it wasn't me having to deal with it, right?
Yeah, I did notice it was your wife that was in the bathroom on her phone while the kids were falling asleep in the hotel room. So I did notice that detail of the story.
I think we're getting into some semantics here. So, Audrey, go ahead and introduce yourself, and so we can kind of talk about a little bit about what you're planning on doing, and then we can kind of shoot the breeze a little bit and bounce some questions off you. But we'll end up giving everybody an idea of who you are and where you're from.
Sure. So Audrey Longstreth, married into the family of Longstreth Memorials in 2018. So though I don't work in the industry, have lots of knowledge from many family dinners with, small business owners. Probably, I'd like to believe that if I was just hanging out in the office and someone walked in, I probably could effectively sell a not great because I've watched Adam do his sales pitch enough time. Yeah, so what I actually do though is I am the director of business development for a company called Source Media Properties, which encompasses 3 local online newsrooms in Central Ohio. And then we have a digital marketing agency with that. And so I get to, it's basically a fancy way of saying I'm responsible for all the revenue. But really what I get to do is meet with different businesses locally and then, across the country. Like we work with Tony and his team. We've got some clients in other states and stuff. And really get to understand, like, what are you guys trying to do with your business, and come up with these marketing plans and help execute on that so that marketing makes sense. Because for, I think, a lot of small business owners, especially if you're, small enough where it's like maybe you have someone who's doing some marketing things for you part-time, but like you don't have a marketing team. You got maybe one person. Most of the time we find that it's like, yeah, that's also my responsibility along with the other 10 to 20 different things. It kind of falls somewhere around here in where I get to focus my time. And so our team really focuses in on helping those small to medium-sized businesses figure out their strategy, clarify their message, and just really feel confident that what they're doing is going to work, so that when you get that call from the vendor that's like, hey, I've got this great opportunity for you, you should do it, you can kind of feel confident in being able to say, yeah, that actually fits into our strategy, or no, instead of, throwing money here, throwing money there, and just hoping that something sticks and works. So that's where I spend a lot of my time. And then, like I said, the other part of my time is actually working in local news. So a lot of experience on how can you leverage the local news environment from an advertising perspective as well. So that's a little synopsis of what I actually do.
And so that's actually, you mentioned us, and we've been, it's been a few years now. I think you've been taking care of our stuff since 21 or 22.
Yeah.
And it basically restructured our website from what we'd had before, revamped it, and made it, I'd say, more user-friendly, but not just user-friendly, gave it the kind of feel we were looking for with how we were doing things. And there were things that we were probably doing wrong that y'all corrected and whatnot. So that's really kind of where your niche is. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do a lot of websites. So we build websites, but then we also do like website maintenance, SEO work. Because what a lot of businesses do is, so, okay, I invested in this website, but then they do nothing with it after the fact. And
Right.
It's kind of the equivalent of like the Field of Dreams, like build it and they will come. And like there is kind of a nature to it, but yeah, it's helping businesses either create that new website that's going to be specifically designed to like, what do you want your customer to do when they get here? And being super clear about what it is that they do. A lot of websites, like I've had a lot of clients that we've worked with where they've had bad website experiences, and it's because, it's all about the design and making it flashy, but they don't focus on like the nuts and bolts of like, what are the words that you're putting on this page so that when someone comes to your website, they understand. There's basically 3 questions that you want someone to be able to answer within the first 3 seconds on your site. And it is, this is what you do. This is how it makes my life better. And this is what I'm going to do to get it. And so you want to be able to address that right away on your website and be strategic about how you're moving people through your site. So yeah, we do a lot on the, like I said, the strategy side of thinking through like, what does this website need versus this one over here? And we work with clients in all industries. We built a website for a coffee shop that's doing e-commerce. We've done websites for monument companies. We've done websites for I just did a SaaS website for a company up in Michigan that works with summer camps and schools. So it's kind of, it's fun for us. We get to learn about all sorts of different businesses and industries and like what their customers need. But then what we do is we offer services to stay on with them, to be able to continue that maintenance, make sure their SEO is strong, run ad campaigns for them, look at, okay, how do we drive more traffic to your website so that people can go through this funnel that, we want to create for you. So I wouldn't say websites are the only thing we do. We
no,
like
because y'all handle our SEO as well, and that's been one of those things that, of course, that when we started with y'all, we were using a different company that was doing SEO, that bowed out of that aspect of their business, but we're continuing to do some stuff, and I kind of questioned where they continue or not at that point. But when we switched over at that point, man, we've been covered up, swamped. And so really when it came down to it, there was a handful of meetings that we went through and sat down and had these conversations about what do we want to see out of our shop and how do we want to portray ourselves. But then on the SEO side, on the advertising side, it's what do we see that is getting clicks? But y'all are staying up to date with the information that I don't have time to fool with. Like, what are the rule changes that Google has? Right? Mm-hmm. Because that stuff gets lost. You can keep up with it to an extent, but unless you're super tech savvy, which there's a reason I play with stone chisels. I'm just a glorified Neanderthal. So, but y'all keep up with all that stuff pretty well and adjust as needed.
Yeah. Yeah. And the rules do change all the time. Adam and I were joking earlier today how we've got some younger staff on our team that we're leveling up in different areas, and he sent one of them like the SEO for beginners course to go through with Google, and he's like, I was looking at it, and he's like, a paragraph, like three paragraphs down, has totally changed, like night and day difference in what it's saying and recommending from like what he saw even just 2 years ago. So yeah, Google, Facebook, all of them they just make stuff up, and we unfortunately have to play in their world and hold on and try to make sense of it.
And I'll say that from my perspective of my limited knowledge of advertising, as much as that's a pain that stuff changes, it's actually probably beneficial if you're keeping up with it. And the reason is because stagnant styles of doing this, they produce stagnant advertising, meaning that if I continue to produce that same ad in the same newspaper forever and hold that same spot, at some point in time, it is no longer seen anymore. It's just there. It's
hopefully you're not using a newspaper.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
But with them forcing the changes constantly, it requires people to see things differently and adjust the way the advertising shows up. So, man, it's a pain. I don't have the time to fool with it. So I pay y'all to do it because it's well worth it. But that's kind of, really truthfully, that's part of having you come to SMBA, because I think that, and I know the advertising website conversation to Monument Guys is not the sexy conversation. It's better than the OSHA conversation. It's better than the insurance conversation.
Glad to see where we rank in this listing is at least above some others.
Well, right. It's better than what is the how you're going to pass off your business. It's better than that. That one's boring.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're in a better position than that. But I think it can be good to know what to do. And if you're at a minimum, if you can have all the tools and you can have a great website, but if you're not set up well on the advertising side, then what good is it? But in the same boat, if you've got the good advertising set up, but your website's not the right, it doesn't have the right things attached to it to get people to draw them into what they need, then what's the purpose?
Yep. And that's what we see more often than not is people are really prone to spend money on advertising because they think that, running ads is going to be what drives business. And it, in many ways it does, right? Like that, they're not wrong about that. If you haven't taken the time to think about, okay, I run this ad, what am I asking them to do here? We run local ads for businesses all the time on our news properties, and we try to typically push people to let us design their ads for them. There's still a lot that submit their own ads. And for us we're a digital only publication. And so a lot of businesses don't know how to move from print advertising styles to a digital focused style. So like there's all these words crammed in and it's really small font and you're just like, well, I don't know what the hell you're saying. But when you do get a decently designed ad and then someone clicks that ad and they go to a website they get there and they're like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Or it takes so long to load because no images have been compressed and like site speed has been completely ignored. And so, the studies are saying like you've got like 3 seconds for your website to load. If it doesn't load in 3 seconds, people are they're clicking off, they're going back to Google and they're searching for they're clicking down to the next search result, right?
Are you saying that they're swiping to the next TikTok video? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying like if they get to your website and it's
because that's kind of what it is, and that's where a lot of this stuff stems from. Is like a lot of these things have shown that whether it's websites, but a lot of this stuff stems from social media things, right? Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. Our attention span has gotten to about.
We've been conditioned to have zero patience for anything.
Yeah.
Hold on, I there was a squirrel run across the back side of the office. What were you talking about? Yeah, that's it, right? As soon as there's another distraction, we're done. And if you haven't captured what she's getting at, is if you haven't captured their attention inside of 3 seconds, then you've just spent how much money for what?
Right. Or your site does load and you're not clear. There's so many websites that you pull it up and there's no words in the first page load. Like the first thing that you see when you get to the website is just like a picture. And a lot of times it's like a picture of their building or a picture of them. Like, I laugh at like all the billboards. It's true around here. I'm sure it's probably true where you guys are too. It's the family photo. And I'm like, I don't care about your really cute family photo there. Like people are by nature, we are selfish humans. We want to know, how are you going to help me? Like our brains are taking in so much information, and that is a million times worse today than it was, go back 50 years ago. The amount of information that's coming at us every single day, and our brains are trying to process this in a way that by the time it's lunch, we're not like tapping out because our brains had to work so hard. So like the messages that get through and are effective in marketing are the ones that are going to clearly communicate, this is how I either help you survive. Like, the equivalent of if I go downstairs in the morning and I see like the red glow on my stovetop because Adam accidentally left a burner on, right? Like that's information my brain's going to pay attention to because it says, hey.
You do know that he listens. He's going to listen to this and you called me out on my eggs.
Yeah. Well, actually, he doesn't ever make eggs. So actually, no, that's not true. He's very into poached eggs. It's very fancy of him. I don't understand why scrambled's just not acceptable.
That is an issue actually, because for somebody who's a stone guy to eat highfalutin eggs, it seems a bit much.
Poached eggs and avocado toast. If you really want to know what his favorite breakfast is in the morning. But anyway, my point is, if you come downstairs and you see that red glow of the stovetop, you're like, oh, yeah. Like my brain's going like, don't touch that. It's going to hurt and turn it off. Because if you don't, that's just going to continue to cause problems, right? That's information I'm paying attention to. Yeah. Or information that's going to help me thrive, information that's going to help me be happier, make more money, meet new friends, like those types of things. Like my brain is going to say that's something to pay attention to. But everything else, if you can't communicate that clearly and you can't do it quickly, it's noise. And so it's getting drowned out. And so that's what we see a lot with websites and advertising messages is we're like, okay, we know no one has an attention span. So I'm just going to try to throw as much information at you as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, because I know I only get a few seconds of your attention. But what they're actually doing is they're making it where you're getting zero of their attention because you're making them have to think about what it is that you do that's either going to help them survive or thrive. And if you make people think, then your chances of connecting to them just dramatically drop off. So, a lot of it is like there, a lot of good marketing. Yes, you got to have the technical things. You need to have a website. You need to, have the brochures and whatever it is that's necessary for your specific company. But if you're not thinking about what you're actually saying on those things, then it's all just a waste of money.
Yeah. Well, and even not just the waste of money, right? It's can your money be? It's still a waste of money, but even looking at it as can your money be used more effectively, right? Because I think sometimes people go, "Oh, well, I didn't waste my money. I still have a website, and people are still looking at it, and we're still getting business off of it." Okay, so let's say you're pulling what's an average decent or an average traffic from a website you would see that
Gosh.
for. Obviously
honestly,
it depends on the industry or depends on the business or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you're pulling in, your click rate is, I don't know, what's a click rate? 25%.
Like people who are actually like engaging with your site. Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say we'll use a percentage because we'll just keep things easy. But let's say you're at 25% on your click rate, meaning 25% of the people who've seen your link or whatever, your ad, clicked on it and then clicked through, right? So it didn't just get to the home page, they clicked on something else, right? And they've moved on to something else to see inside your page. Well, okay, that's 25%. Oh, look, no, people are going. But if you could improve it to 45% and not spend more money because you effectively did something better, doesn't that make more sense? Right? Because now I have to assume that I've spent X number of dollars a month on all of these different things, whether it's my SEO or my website being constructed the right way or whatever. And in that number, I want the highest possible grab. And if I've got 50 people that normally click on my website in a week, it would be nice to have that number jump to 70, right? And if I can get it to jump to 70, I know that now I've got a higher percentage chance of getting those people to buy a monument, right? Because maybe if 50% of the people have clicked on my website to look, or 50 people have clicked on my website to look within a week, I may sell one monument off of it. But now I've got 70, I have a higher chance of selling two off of the 50, just on averages based on. So obviously doing these improvements, this is a long roundabout way of saying doing these little improvements cost you because you're paying a service. But if you're already paying a service and it's not being effective, or if you're trying to do it yourself, your time's more effectively used, effectively used doing something over here than trying to do this mitigation stuff on your website and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full-time job, right? Like, and so for a lot of people, like I said, it's like we don't either. There's one dedicated person who does marketing and it's like this broad scope of it. But most people are not experts in all things marketing, right? Like, so you might have someone on your team who's your marketing person because they're really good at like designing brochures that you use in your sales process. Okay, that's important. And they manage your social media. Okay, cool. And maybe they can do some web updates, but they know nothing about digital ad buying, bid strategies, SEO, things like that. It's very rare to find that all-around expert in marketing to bring in-house. And so that's why, like, for a lot of companies that we work with, their mindset is like, we're going to invest. Some of them invest as much as what you would probably spend in an employee salary, but what they're getting is a whole team. So no one on our team is an expert in all things, but like we've got Adam, who's our SEO expert. We've got someone who's social ads. We've got an in-house graphic designer. We've got content specialists. We've got, web partners. Like, and so what you get, you can take that $50,000, $70,000 that you would hire one person to do this, limited section of your marketing. You send that over to an agency, and now you're getting a full suite of services to be able to manage your website, manage your SEO, do your, help create a social strategy for you and help execute on that, run your ads, and you're getting it all at a high level so that your team can just stay focused on like, this is what we actually need to just sell monuments. And how do we increase
what's funny is this is the monument equivalent of what you just said is and I love that I'm fixing to say this, and this gives that automatic cringe to every monument guy who's ever met with a family, is the family who comes in and they go, oh, my daughter's a graphics designer, right? Oh, okay. They've designed graphic stuff, but they've never designed a monument, and they don't know the first thing about how much gap I need in my stencil for me to sandblast something, or what my line spacing needs to be, or what, will the stone allow me to do this design on it? Those kind of things, right? It's the same concept as to what you're talking about here. We may know how to produce an in-house flyer that we're going to hand to somebody so they know what we do, but that doesn't mean that we know how to make it effective.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
I think it's great information to like really think on, which is why, that's why we wanted to have you come out and talk, because it's important to set your business up for success, and nobody's using phone books anymore to find anybody or anything like that. I laughed the other day. We finally got a phone book in. I hadn't seen one in years. And the local, it's called Area Wide out here is what we would get, came in. I swear to you, that book was less than a 1/4 inch thick when I used to see it, and it was 2 inches thick before, because there's nothing in it. Nobody's spending money on ads and print media like that, not in phone books or newspapers or any of that stuff. So you've got to move to a different thing, and using these digital aspects that are changing constantly. You can't keep up with it fast enough. So yeah. I think this is a very important topic, and it's a high level topic that we're going to go over, that you're going to go over with everybody about how to better improve their stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it is super nuanced, but it also, there are like, you can always go down a million different rabbit holes, right? Like SEO, and you start talking about like SEO strategies and things like that. Yeah, it gets super technical and can be really overwhelming. And that's kind of one of the challenges of doing sessions like this, is making sure that this is accessible information, where like, I don't want people to walk away going like, well, I feel depressed because now I just like, you just shared a lot of information that makes me go, oh yeah, that's really important. But like, I didn't understand half of it, and I don't know what to do now. And, and so like, it's my goal just to kind of help like elevate and go like, okay, if you do nothing else, spend time just thinking about these 3 things. And, here's some tools and some resources that if you want to go the DIY route, and, because there's some really just high level things, even like there's a cool tool that I recommend everyone, if you don't have it, is connecting your website to something called Search Console. You connect it in, it sends you a monthly report Now, there are going to be things in that monthly report that are going to be like high level technical that you're like, I don't know what that is, but there's going to be a couple of really basic things. Even if you only optimize for a couple basic things or track minimal things, that's helpful for you. It also will flag any errors. Because like I said, we live in Google's world. Yes, there's other search engines, I know, but the reality is the majority of people are still using Google.
Yes, there are other search engines, but yeah, the crown jewel and what is the cornerstone is Google at this point.
Yeah,
you don't miss it, Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. Yeah, that's a memory.
He just opened a core memory there.
Well, that goes with that like really high pitched dial up sound, like Ask Jeeves. And, you've got mail. They kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, like it's connecting your site to Search Console, making sure your website is set up with Google Analytics. And again, those aren't hard things to set up. There's a million things you can do in Google Analytics that is honestly above my zone. Like I don't actually get to work on many client accounts. I'm more on the strategy messaging side of what we do. We have, the rest of the team that gets in the technical side of it. But I can log into a Google Analytics account and go, oh, cool. We had 1.2 thousand users in the last 7 days, and that's up or down from the previous period. Even at a high level like that, having those tools connected is useful, because if you don't get them connected and then you do decide you want to have a more integrated marketing strategy, as long as you have those connected, you at least have data to refer back to, right? Like at least start collecting the data, even if you do nothing with it right now. Just have the tools connected so the data is being collected. And then you can slowly, as you're ready and as you have the resources for it, start optimizing for, all right, we want to see, we're going to run this campaign and we're going to track, did we see an increase in users? We're going to run this campaign. And this is where you can start getting to the next layers. Like we're going to run this campaign and we're going to set a goal metric in analytics to look at contact form conversion. So ultimately, when you run ads, yes, you want to turn it into business, right? Not everyone though that's ad is going to, instantly buy a monument. So doing things like conversion tracking, time on page, like those types of things are high level that, if you get it set up, it at least gives you something to look at once a month and go, okay, hey, we're staying steady. We're going up.
Right.
Oh, we've been going down for like the last 3 months. Why is that? What's going on? Right. It gives you don't have to do all right, let me put my finger in the air and go, I think we should buy a billboard, or my favorite, placemats.
Well, I laugh at that because I know that I still run into restaurants where I've seen that.
It's true. I will say though,
Austin, when was the last time you saw an advertisement on your dinner table at a restaurant?
It's been a hot minute. It has been a hot minute.
And what was the level of food you had at that restaurant?
Well, I'm pretty sure the ones that had that company's advertisement on that placemat, I'm pretty sure if you was to call the number, that company no longer exists.
Oh, yeah. Well, even the ones that my favorite is my little taco shop by the office that I'll every once in a while get a breakfast taco or whatever at. And all the guys that'll take their business cards and drop a stack of their business cards there on the counter. And it's the absolute same equivalent of having it pinned by the bathroom, and on a cork board.
Mm-hmm.
The odds of you getting something from that is nil, or next to nil. So you could do that and spend your money on putting business cards up, which, yeah, sure, that's cheap. But I would say your rate of inquiry on that per dollar is even lower than if you spend your money this way. You're much more likely to get something out of it doing it this direction, doing the digital aspect of it. And I like we were kind of talking about some of the data stuff, and you get nuanced and you kind of get into the weeds of some of the information. Now, like for some of that, the data that I would get in, could I effectively get based on a geographical location of where somebody's coming in from whenever I'm looking at this stuff?
Yeah, so it depends on how your
Ish.
analytics is set up. I mean, analytics
Mhm.
should give you information on geography as well as gender. Like, are we seeing it helps you understand who your audience is. Like,
Mhm.
and it all just depends on how you've got it set up, right? Like, but ideally, it's
Mhm.
going to tell you like these are your top locations that are accessing your site. Location data is a little it's accurate to a point. Like we have an issue up here in Ohio. There's a Verizon tower that it always reports as if you're in Cincinnati, which for context is 3 hours away from where we are. It's a Verizon issue. It's like we can't fix it. And so it skews our location data here locally. And so there's, nothing's perfect. It's not an
No.
exact snapshot, but yeah, you can
Mhm.
capture
But like, and I say that information to say, like, okay, let's say hypothetically, I want to start expanding my business a little further, and I can kind of analyze that data and look at where are we getting some, but we want to try and get more, and so then we can kind of adjust our advertising to say, hey, start hitting this area, right? Start pushing out towards Leon County, which for for us or something like that. Let's kind of look out that direction, and what can we do more to draw more attention out there, and
yeah.
and draw pinpoint, because and then we're tracking that data out there as that comes in. Are we getting more? And then even on my end, because while I'm paying y'all to handle that stuff, y'all are getting that data and reporting it back to me. But I'm able to kind of go and say, oh look, now we've kind of seen that we're seeing sales from out there where we weren't, but we're not seeing it on the scale we want to. Maybe we want to dial it back and move over here, or maybe we need to ramp it up a little bit more. Um,
Hmm.
and sometimes this stuff just takes time. I mean, it's I know like with TV advertisement, radio advertisement, that stuff really does have to sit for a period, and people have to get used to seeing it before that stuff dials in. But I don't feel like it's the same way digitally online. I feel like yes, they've got to see it maybe a couple times, but not to the same extent as they do on TV.
I mean, it still depends. So like most people are aware with the marketing funnel, right? Like people have to be aware of you, they have to know you exist. Um and that's where a lot of advertising lives. You're out of home, so your billboard, your airport, like
Yeah.
those types of ads are all awareness ads. A lot of digital can be awareness. You're just getting people to memorize who you are, what you do, how you make their life better, right? Like you want people to recognize your name. And especially in an industry like you guys are, n- you're not like you guys don't sell shoes, right? Like you're not
We're
a
not we're not
Wait a minute.
exciting.
Hold on.
yeah.
I've got a granite boot right back here somewhere.
No,
A couple
that's
of them.
Yeah, I mean,
anytime I've ever spoke with a marketing firm, that has always been one of the big challenges is how do we tailor our message? Because one, it's not like people are just like you said, we're not selling shoes. It's not like we're seeing just people wanting to just come browse. They're here because something bad has happened in their life. And that's just a cold, hard, simple fact of what we do. Nobody's excited to come see us. Nobody wants to come see us.
right.
And so it's hard to tailor that advertising. And of course, I've wasted a lot of money on ineffective advertising, and because like we've been talking, things have changed. The whole landscape of advertising, marketing, it is a whole new world now. And
Yeah.
I think that to a certain extent, like television advertising is irrelevant now. And there's still a lot of people that would push real heavy on it. And I'm not saying it's a terrible idea, but I wouldn't, I would not allocate a lot of my marketing dollars towards television advertising because, like, I'm like most people out there now. I'm not watching the traditional means of television anymore. It's all streaming, and I don't watch commercials.
Yeah, so the trick is like a lot of people expect me as a digital marketer to say print is useless, out of home is useless, television, radio, blah, blah, blah. It's not the case. All forms of advertising have a place. The thing that people mess up is they want advertising, they want every type of advertising to be right at the bottom of the funnel and drive business. You can use all those forms of advertising. You just have to know where am I meeting people at? What's the objective here? Sometimes your objective is, I just want people to see my name. That is winning in this campaign, is that they see my name. And that's important, even in a business like yours, because when that bad thing happens to them, they have to know you exist to come to you, right? Now, I don't think because of the nature of why people need to see you, I don't know that you have to spend a ton of money in the awareness zone. You need to have some level of awareness, but then, you can have you just want to be strategic about all right, if we're going to run in radio ad, what's the objective? Are we typically, if you're wanting to go straight from, this is the first time I've heard your ad, to I'm actually doing something with you, a lot of times you got to have some sort of hook, an incentive, a time-bound reason that someone should act now. If you can do that, if you give them a clear call to action in your ad, your advertising is going to have a greater chance of being more than just awareness. And that's why digital tends to work a lot better for people. It's also just cheaper. And a lot of times, you can do a bid strategy. I know right now, I think Tony, we're getting a 50 cent cost per click on some of your ads right now. Whereas Google's average is $1 to $1.50 to $2. If you don't have a dialed in strategy and stuff.
And that's the other thing, the dialed in strategy, because otherwise, if you're just firing out and not paying attention to what's working and what you're using, you're paying that $1.50, $2 per click on whatever that is, whatever the term is. And there might be other ways to set it up that are more effective and will cost you less.
Yeah. So it's just understanding what is the objective and being okay with, if you're going to run an awareness campaign, awesome. Don't hold that vendor accountable though if you got 0 sales from it. Right. Because awareness is your very top of the funnel. You should be holding them accountable to how many eyeballs did you get this in front of? How many people saw this ad? And that's in the lack of trackability in the other methods is what makes them harder to justify, and their cost. So it's okay, if you know your strategy and you know what you need to achieve, then now you're just ranking advertising avenues for it based off a budget. If you got the budget to do your top 5 strategies, awesome. Run radio, run billboard. There's some really effective billboard campaigns that someone can do, right? But if you look at okay, here's my strategy, here's what we need, here's the tactics that in order of priority of effective, most effective to likely least effective. And you look at your budget and go, we can only do one. Well, should that one be a radio ad, or should it be a digital ad campaign where you can get further down in that funnel? You can kind of hit all of the, they're getting the awareness of your name, but you can also, with a clear message, give them a direct pathway to transact with you or get to your website, where you can then have a pixel installed that goes on their browser and run a follow me campaign with them if you wanted to go that involved. Or, what we do for a lot of our clients, which is search-based ads, where it's, they were searching something relevant, or their internet behavior fits this general, or not general, this defined thing that we're saying, hey, people who are doing these types of things online, they're the type of people we want our name in front of. And so you can do this bid strategy to say, when they're on other sites, we want our ad to show to them. So that, there's the classic pay-per-click ads where it's I'm literally on Google and I'm searching, what first step in buying a monument, or 3 things to know about buying my whatever people are searching, right?
Well, right. And some of this is it's like what you're getting at is sometimes it's just about being in front of people, right? And some of these things, like what you're talking about with the you called it Google digital display or something like that.
The Google Display Network.
Yeah. Your image, your logo becomes in front of people. I always kind of say, like, Austin, you and I have gone and talked about this when it comes to fonts and design on a monument, right? You say, somebody says, well, Dad was a hunter or whatever. And so you go, okay, well, what did he hunt with? Oh, Winchester. And you go, okay, well, I don't want a gun on the monument. You go, well, no. The key is that the Winchester font is familiar. And when you can use that font, you have something familiar. And it's not because like we're trying to do something Winchester or whatever. It's building that familiarity to make something feel like somebody, right? You have seen that Winchester rifle over and over and over and over forever. And you're so familiar with that font that now by putting that name in that font, it drives it home that's who that's for. Similarly, what you're doing with this type of advertising is you're able to put your business and your logo and your branding on other people's websites and other things that people are looking through. So they're constantly seeing. And if they can constantly see it, they're constantly basically getting screen burn in the back of their mind, right? Where something's been stood up so long that now they can't help but think of anybody. You want to be the Band-Aid, right? And I say Band-Aid meaning not like sore. I mean, Band-Aid is not the name of what that is. Band-Aid is a brand name. Mm-hmm. Bandage is what that is, but we call it a Band-Aid because that's what we've been programmed to do. You're trying to be programmed so that you are in front of everybody. So yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be good to have you out there and kind of really talk more about this and get people to understand what they can and can't do, or not necessarily can and can't do, what they can do to better improve their website for them and their advertising for them. And even down to, like you said, the strategy aspect of it. My hope is that we get people to really start to see another way of looking at how they're doing their advertising to make it more effective for them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I chose to stay through the whole conference as well, so that like, being able to be accessible during the break sessions, or people want to sit down and ask follow-up questions. I love this kind of stuff to just, shoot, the ability to sit down and just give people advice and just be like, yeah, you should do this, or that's the best kind of gig, right?
Oh yeah. No, so this is fun, and that's why I asked you to come out, is because I remember you did this for AICA, and I enjoyed it, and then spent an awful lot of money with you. And it's actually a misnomer, right? It's been over the course of several years, and I may think an awful lot of money is more than or less than other people think it is. So, but no, so good times. I mean, how's everything else going on up there in Ohio? Is it hot yet?
Not hot. We're in the, some days it's like 80, and then, the next day the high is going to be 65. Cool. So, it's just perpetual sinus infections and rain, basically.
That's pretty much what it's been here.
The grass is finally green again, and, I can sit here with my front door open and actually get to breathe fresh air and not freeze my butt off. So I like this season.
Well, you're 1 month away from coming down here and getting to experience by then we should be in the triple digits, or if not we'll be in the upper 90s by then. So you'll have some fun with that.
Bring my sunscreen for my pasty skin.
And I would guess that the hotel would have a pool. I have not looked online to see how nice the pool is, but
there is one.
Have you seen it?
No, just a brief little picture. Not Olympic size or anything, but there is a pool. There is a hole in the ground that holds water that you're free to jump into.
It's a concrete tank.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, there you go. So, Austin, in your part of Texas, do you call it a tank or do you call it a pond?
It's a tank.
Okay. Just I didn't know where that line stopped. we always called it a tank. So, but no, it's going to be a good show.
It stops before Ohio.
Do what? Before Ohio? Y'all call them ponds?
Yeah.
Anything that's in your backyard that was dug out with a bulldozer is a tank here.
Oh, definitely so. Yeah. I consider a pond just a small depression in the ground that holds water when it rains, and then it's gone shortly thereafter.
We had that in center field last night after the rainstorm at the Aggie baseball game.
Oh shoot! I thought you was talking about the Astros where it was raining even with the roof closed.
Oh yeah, no, it was coming through. Somebody tried to tell me that they were trying to wash off some sticky off of a pitcher's hand or something. I don't really know.
Something like that.
No, they did. We had a pond in center field last night, and it was one of my guys who works for me was working security. He goes, I can't believe they got that dried out. And I said, do you know why they got that dried out? And he says, why? And I said, because Evan Oschenbeck is our closer, and they wanted to try and throw him twice this weekend. And so they wanted to make sure the game was last night so that we didn't doubleheader today and then ruin it so he couldn't throw tomorrow as well. And I said, you got to be kidding me. There was 15 guys out there trying to dry out center field so that that they could play. And I go, yeah, Evan's that good. So, but no, so I'm looking forward to convention. We're right around the corner at this point in time. We're T-minus 33 days or something like that at this point in time. So it'll be good. I've got a monument dedication next week, so we'll get through that, and I should be able to start seeing clearly again. Now that we can't set anything, everything's too wet. So
same here.
But Audrey, you can do whatever you want, I guess, because digital stuff doesn't worry about the rain.
Yep.
So unless you're in Tony's office.
Unless you're in my office, and then the internet doesn't work.
Right.
We literally about 3:00 yesterday is when it started raining, and the internet goes out. All right, guys, let's go home.
That'll do it.
So, all right. Well, Audrey, we greatly appreciate you coming on.
Definitely so. Thank you.
It's look forward to seeing you out there, and I'm hoping that this really goes quite a ways for getting people to understand what they can do to improve their business and improve the visibility of their business. So,
yeah, looking forward to it. Glad to join you guys this afternoon.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on.
Definitely so. Thank you.
I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. And Austin, I'm gonna have to see if I can find me a beer.
Oh, same here.
All right.
Look, wait, hey, I found one.
Oh. All right. Well, y'all have a good one. We'll catch y'all on the next one.
Sounds good. Have a good one.